Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I pray everyone is having a beautiful and blessed Thursday. This is Holy Week, so this is Holy Thursday. As we count down to tomorrow will be Good Friday, and we are going to have the resurrection on Sunday. When you ain't got small children around, you gotta, with me with Easter and everything, I always remember growing up when we had Easter coming, how we went, got our Easter clothes, and we'd be dressed up all cute, going to church, and then after church, we go on, our little whatever activity. But my cousin, her birthday was like around April sometime, and Easter used to fall around that time, so it was always like a little birthday party afterwards. Or we would be probably going on a family to the movies or to in New York, Coney Island. Okay, so anyway, y'all, I just wanted to just come and say it is R. Kelly. I'm trying to get his fans to understand that is his song. The ones you see with the tape playing, the ones with the tape, the ones you see is AI, is the videos. Those are not R. Kelly. That's somebody else singing in those particular videos. But the ones you hear that is the cassettes, those are R. Kelly's music. That's R. Kelly. He already said it's him, his attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, she confirmed it. R. Kelly said he has written about at least 25, I think, albums or songs, but I know he has some stuff because of his. Remember, before he went to jail, there was some music he's done too that he hasn't released. So he's done a lot of music, even from songs and music and everything that has not been released because he, was writing music before he went in the concert, before he was incarcerated. So R. Kelly has a whole lot of songs out there that he wants his fans to listen to and to hear. I know definitely the song he was singing about Azrael, that's him. Because nobody can sing it as passionate as you can when you write something and you can feel his passion in those songs. You can really feel where his heart, where his mind was, his heart, his soul, and everything. So I'm just trying to put that out there. I really wish people would just listen to the song and you can hear him even in the background and saying, hey, like he's singing. That's him. If you don't believe me, reach out to Jennifer Bonjean. But R. Kelly already said it. He said it on a platform, and I believe that was his voice when he was talking, and he called um, that platform with those white girls or whatever they were that he was on their platform. So I try not to say too much around what's going on with his legal situation. What's the holdup? I've been trying to share as much as I can here on YouTube. If you could watch my community wall, I am posting things about certain things that are going on with R. Kelly. Why is the holdup with his court, with the Supreme Court? Also, what's going on? Baze, baze, baze. Now, how can I explain this? Right now, R. Kelly got to be under security. Okay, he's under some kind of really tight security in his because of not him, but because of people that are out there. Because of people that are out there. Um, if you notice when they came for R. Kelly, how they set up the whole takedown. You got people out here that participated with the government to take R. Kelly down. And we are talking about people that are sitting in political positions and who have made big investments in the docu series surviving the R. Kelly. How they was able to get away with this kind of crime is because it had to come, and I explained it before. It had to come from somewhere a higher level. Okay, it came from somewhere from a higher level, and these things, what the BOP officer and was putting it out there. What you got to understand about the American government, which a lot of you probably don't understand. When you're dealing with a high profile case, like this, and it was all of this, like R. Kelly never even defended himself, and the way they strategically moved to do it. These are women terrorist groups, okay, and they been working on this. You'd be surprised the people that are involved, okay, not just Sony. Okay, it's not only just Sony. Sony had pulled his record labels, and Spotify had pulled him. So where do you think the attacks are coming at R. Kelly's life? It's these women feminist groups, okay? These women terrorist feminist groups. So I don't know if you've been following certain things that has been taking place lately of these so-called women in power, and they've been taking down wealthy, not only just black men, but they've been hitting the president too. Okay? So you gotta be like R. Kelly where he's at right now, is for his own safety. Would you, if you really want to know? I mean, these women are sitting in government. The judge, the lawyers, the prosecutors, the people that sitting in all kind of powerful positions. Some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans. So these are really terroristic women. Okay, they dangerous. They just took one down there in Pennsylvania. Judge, she was more of a I don't know what her jurisdiction was, what kind of judge she was, but I know she just was on a terrorist attack. Remember, she shot her husband in a grown area. I just posted a picture. She shot her husband in the grown area. Then she went and shot the boyfriend. Come on now, this is a judge. This is a mother of three children. She was also associated with the group BLM, Black Lives Matter. These are some really angry, powerful women. Look at Gloria Allred. Okay? She's the one in New York. They in every state. They are in every state. These women organizations and the LGBTQ community that's coming for these men. Okay? These men like Donald Trump, R. Kelly, P. Diddy, Jay Z. I mean, y'all got to understand that R. Kelly's doing the best he can to send music out here to his fans and supporters. He can't really talk about it because he's locked up there, and you got to be careful because you don't know who you talking to, but he has to do what he has to do. He wants y'all to know that he's sending music to you. Listen to the songs. That's all I'm telling you. And that's the best he can do right now. Okay? This is a very high profile criminal case. And not only is coming from the most highest levels of, of wickedness and evil. Y'all want to hear music, he's sending you music. Okay? But we also got to look out for his safety. These women are dangerous. They are dangerous. They like terrorists. They like vigilantes. They out there smearing his name in the campaign of saying he's a pedophile, da 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 da. Who else you think is doing this? This is not coming from a man. This is coming from women. And the men that probably support these kind of feminist groups, like the LGBTQ community and stuff like that. Y'all better, y'all better get in your word of God, because y'all just out here thinking, oh, R. Kelly, we want to see. I want to see him too, but I more like to keep him alive. You know what I'm saying? I like to see him too. These women are dangerous. These women are more wicked than the men are. They say ain't no hell like a woman scorned, right? These are some scorned, evil ass women. Look at what Sonia McKinley or whatever her name is just did to her husband. Shot him. She got off. She said it was domestic violence. That's why she shot him. If it was domestic violence and you a judge, why didn't you? She's a judge, right? Sonia. That's why it didn't even sound right. How did she get a Black Lives Matter supported her? But now this time they couldn't do it because now they on to them. So she went down. Okay? Sonia McKinney. Look up the story. I already played the story for you. I already did a video on that. These are women that are sitting in high position of power. They are sitting in the courthouse. They are sitting in politics. They sitting in Congress. They sitting in all kind of places in government. In government. Okay? First, I thought it was like, oh, but then I remember they came for Donald Trump. And they still trying to come for Donald Trump. Come on, look at what's going on with Letitia James up there in New York City. And she's the biggest lesbian. Okay? Fonnie Willis, Michelle Obama, Carmelo Harris. As I go down the line, Gloria Allred, Kim Fox. These women were in positions of power to get people to be a part of the document that went down with Lifetime. What do you see on Lifetime when you watch these Lifetime movies? Always some women that are scorned, that is going after being vigilantes, okay? After men. They terrorists. I would like to see R. Kelly too perform and come out and be with his family and everything. But when you think about it, you more better to have alive in there than you are out here. Because these women are crazy. Something happened to these women. They never got the help for whatever crime that took place with them, as far as a sex crime or whatever. Some of them just, they just mad out of their damn mind. They want to be in power. And they doing everything they can to cause all kind of, it's a whole lot of stuff. It's a whole lot of stuff. I have to take you'll have to take down you got to just like totally put these women out of business, out of power, so that things could get back normal. These women are terrorists and they're evil. These are scorned women. They in the universities, they professors at colleges and universities. They got this campaign going. They on these things, like they got these women and everything to join these groups, and they find you at your most vulnerable, weakest moment. I'm not with the feminist stuff. I'm with Jesus. Okay? I am with Jesus. No, thank you. I'm not going to try to take power in my own hand and try to hurt somebody if they not treating me right and the things just ain't going right. I just got to get out the relationship. Of course there's going to be some scars there, and the devil will always, like I showed you that in that video I did last night, the live I did last night, and I did the one on Judas Iscariot. Like, there is always a place where the devil will creep into that crack. And there's always that little spot, and it just could just trigger you. That's that little bit of something that will just trigger you. None of these, notice that the girls that R. Kelly have been with, okay, they've been starting Susan Logan. You could tell they go way back. These women go way. There's so many of them. You don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. The enemy is quiet, looking for an opportunity. How they got a hold of how did they get a hold of Azarel? Remember when Donald Trump was running for president? It was a female. They couldn't trust. They had to get rid of her. And she was up there with the FBI. Okay? These women are in very high positions in power that's campaigning around to take down wealthy, and they trying to take down wealthy men that's in power like Donald Trump. They've been doing this stuff for years, and they got stronger. They got stronger. And that's, I'm telling you, they got even stronger, these women. That's why I don't be going to all of this. They be having those abortion clinics talking about women's rights, and women getting abortions, and all of that, unaliving babies in the womb and stuff like that. These women are mad evil, and I could show you where I could take you to. Okay, I'm gonna take you to the book in the Bible. That's the best way I could show you. When you put women in power, they could be very evil. There's a reason why God didn't want women to be the head of any church. She is evil. And especially if she don't know the Lord. When some of them think they know the Lord, they in the church. They in the church. Taking over the pulpit. Okay? They in the military. They in the church. These are women organizations that are in power. And they say a woman scorned is no hell like a woman scorned. Zephaniah. Let me take you to the Bible. Where's my book of Zephaniah? Zephaniah. Let's go to Zephaniah. You could go through this Bible, through just about every chapter somewhere, and look at all the men that fell in the kingdom. The men that had big kings and rulers and everything. How did they fall? It was a woman. That's why it's so important why it's kind of hard to explain this stuff. I'm looking for the chapter. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to keep talking. Oh boy, I know I see it in here, cause nice and serious. He will stretch out his hand against the north. When he talk about how she's a whore and she's gonna be evil and she's gonna do, it's just certain things that's why God didn't want women in the pulpit. She will ruin. She would destroy the world. She will destroy the world, and that's exactly what she's trying to do. When women are power hungry and they want power, they get together a whole bunch of women that think like that. They will destroy the world. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. They putting these women in pulpits and all that other stuff. These women get to get up in the pulpit and be the pastor of the church and everything. Where in the Bible do God ever put women in in the pulpit? Where? Now he had Judge Deborah, and let me tell you, she was a prophetess. Okay, she was like a prophetess, and she was used at the time by Barak so she could strategize his fight in the military because she can do that. Let's go to the book of Judges. Let me go to Judges. I think I better go to Judges. I can just say. But as far as a woman and she's scorned and her heart is dirty and she's just been through mess with men and everything else like that, they all these women listen to their story. Watch the movie, watch Lifetime. You get it right there. Lifetime. Every movie on Lifetime with a woman is a woman's channel, and every part of Lifetime is some crazy woman who's scorned and she's crazy. She's crazy. Look at I'm sorry, I don't want to look at that right now. Look, I don't want to do no more with Carmelo. I'm gonna take a break with Carmelo right now because it's just too much going on around there. I don't want to get too caught up. I'm just trying to concentrate on one thing at a time. But the thing is that these women are scorned. They're crazy. Why is this? Let's go back to McKinney, lady. I know I'm all over the place, right? I'm just trying to get as much out there as I can. I'm trying to get as much as I can. That's why it's so important you study your Bible so you don't fall into these things of the world. When they put that, God is not pleased with that. When I kept saying, get them women out the pulpit, get them women out the pulpit. And as soon as they put these women out on the pulpit and everything, the kids are not being raised properly. She up there, she just crazy. I'm a female, but see, I know my place with God. You know what I'm saying? I try to stay in my lane. There's just certain things I'm just not gonna do because I know that if I cross that line, these women in these terrorist groups, they want to have power where if you notice during this election, how they was coming up with all this misogynistic stuff and they was saying all of this in the election about Donald Trump and they was saying all of this stuff about um what else? What they were saying, they was abortions, right? How he doesn't like women and how he treat women, how and then you got these men in the pulpit doing the same thing up there, attacking Donald Trump and he's a racist and he's a this and he's a that. And when I see them talking like that in the pulpit, and even though I know there's some on the other side too as well, as far as some Republicans, because they are everywhere. Like I said, they everywhere. These women are everywhere. They in the Democrat Party, they in the Republican Party. Some of them are in the Green Party. Some of them are in the what you call that party again? That what's his name? The that party that independent and they everywhere. These women are evil. How can they get they get into these colleges and universities and they go to these young girls and they start, putting things into their head? They are not good women. And I'm trying to tell you, stay away from them feminist groups. Stay away from them. They dangerous. They are very dangerous. These women are scorned. I'm trying to look for. I don't know where. I'm gonna have to get with y'all with this one later because I gotta write these scriptures down. I haven't wrote it down, but I know it's there. Okay, we're gonna talk about Deborah, chapter 4. Deborah. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Now that Ehud was dead, so the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazar, Sisera. The commander of his army was based in Harosheth. Hagoyim, I don't know how to pronounce all these Hebrew names, because he had 900 chariots fitted with iron and had cruelly oppressed the Israelites for 20 years. They cried to the Lord for help. Now, Deborah, a prophet, the wife, she was a wife of Lapithoth was leading Israel at the time, which was her husband. Her husband was leading, right? She held court under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim. And the Israelites went up to her to have their dispute decided. See, Deborah was more, she was a judge, but she was they didn't say she was a judge. She's in the book of Judges. See, that's another thing people got all messed up. Deborah was a judge. She was a prophetess, not a judge. You understand what I'm saying? She's in the book of Judges, but she was a prophetess. I just said it. Now Deborah, a prophet, it is. The wife of Lapidoth was leading. Okay? She was the wife of Lapidoth who was leading Israel at that time. She held court under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim. And the Israelites went up to her to have their disputes decided. She sent for Barak, son of Abinam, from Kadesh in Naphtali, and said to him, the Lord, the God of Israel, commands you, go take with you 10,000 men of Naphtali and Zebulun, and lead them up to Mount Tabor. I will lead Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his troops to the Kishon River, and give him into your hands. Barak said to her, if you go with me, I will go. But if you don't go with me, I won't go. Certainly I will go with you, said Deborah. But because of the course you are taking, the honor will not be yours. For the Lord will deliver Sisera into the hands of a woman. Listen to what I'm saying. So Deborah went into with Barak to Kadesh. That means that by her going, they're gonna have to, like he would have to give her the permission to go with him. To lead him in this fight. Because, see, woman back in the Bible days, yes, she was able to prophesize. She was able to evangelize. She was able to do certain things as far as, like, you know, spiritual gifts and things that was given to her from the Lord. But Deborah was a strong woman in God. So she knew her place. But if the man asked her, of course she was able to go with him as a woman. She also, you see, she had a husband as well. She couldn't just go over her husband and do this, but she had to, confirm this with her husband. Now, yeah, he called me to do this and fight in the war, no, and help him strategize his fight. And of course, she had to pray about it too. Can't just be with women that don't know the Lord. These women don't know no God. They want LGBTQ rights. They want to unalive babies from the womb. Kamala Harris, y'all was ready to go vote her in, huh? Oh, she's a woman and first woman president. Oh, she would have had America done. We are not a democracy. We are a republic. It's a totally different thing. Read, read. Go look it up. Go look up Ulysses Grant. The what president was he of the United States? 13th president of the United States. What bill is he on? He was a Republican. It was the North and the South Civil War, right? The Confederate, that KKK flag that they fly around and everything, that terrorist group, the Ku Klux Klans, they are the Confederate. They was the democracy. Okay? Those are the ones who wanted slaves to still stay on their property, still work as sharecroppers, and they wanted to be in control. They didn't want to set the slaves free and go, separate and find their own land and start building from there. The Republicans were from the North, which is the Union. That's when the fight came in. And then there was the Civil War, so there was some of the slaves that had to help fight in the Civil War with the Union. They were included in the military with the Union. The South did not want they slaves to fight. So some of the slaves, that's how you see now the division among us. The conservatives, and then you have the Democrat Party. See, the conservatives didn't believe in all that evil over there with the Democrats, with the Confederates. The Confederates wanted to. They were cruel. They was mean. Read it. I left a whole article. I read a whole article on in one of my videos. Read it. Read it. The difference between the Republicans and the Democrats is that the Republicans will give you your land and everything that you needed to start to build your lives in America. That's what they did to the slaves. That's why we fighting now for the reparations that we supposed to have, all of the damages that these KKK members did. They don't want to give it to us. That's what they was sending all them. They rather take care of illegals and the LGBTQ community and fight for their rights and their civil rights and everything. They don't care nothing about blacks. They wanted to replace you. That's why they was bringing all those. They open up the borders and let them just flood into America like that. Everybody was just dumping all their criminals into America because they had the borders open. They don't care nothing about Foundation Black Americans. They wanted to replace you with the illegals. That's what Trump was trying to tell you. And they big over there in that Democrat Party, the LGBTQ and these women groups. They big over there in the Democrat Party. Look it up. It's being played out in front of you every day. Look at all these women coming for Trump. Look at them. And they put the black woman in the front line. Come on. They put the black woman in the front line to take down R. Kelly. How could they have taken him down? They had to use the black woman. You ain't never see R. Kelly running around with the stringy heads and all that other. He dedicated a whole album to the sisters. They knew he had nothing but mad love for the community of black women. That's how they took him down. Talk to any black woman now to this day about R. Kelly. They be like, especially the ones who's sitting up there in they high so-called powerful positions. Look at me. They couldn't stand me at work when I talked about R. Kelly. The black woman. They was attacking me. He's a rapist. He's a pedophile. He's a this and that. And then when I would have to go, I said, you know what? I can't fuck with you people no more. Yeah, the thing is that I gotta protect my anointing and my spirit. I gotta protect my heart and guard and protect myself because I knew how those spirits were coming and attacking me. I had to get out of there. It tells you all of that in the Bible. These women are not saved. They are evil. They carrying a whole lot of stuff that is in their heart. I already showed you the Judas story about Azariah. Robert even said, I didn't promise you anything, but you was riding with me like you was a grown woman. Now you want to turn this around and say that I took advantage of you, that you was a child. You wasn't no child when she was up there giving it up to him and want to be there and was acting grown. Then all of a sudden now he went to jail. Now she got to go get a bag somewhere. So she going to turn this story around because they offered her some money and she fell for it and she sold him out. I told y'all to listen to the song, y'all. He telling the story. He said you up here running around here telling people, running around dragging my name all over the place and everything. Then all of a sudden now, and Gayle King is down with it, Oprah is down with it. They all sold out to that woman feminist group shit. The what's that table that them bunch of cackling cows sit around, the table talk or whatever with Whoopi Goldberg, all of them. Joy Reid, now that they don't use her up for whatever reason, they don't kicked her somewhere. She quiet somewhere now. But I'm just saying, just pay attention. R. Kelly gonna be fine, y'all. Okay, he's gonna be fine. But there's some women groups that are out here and you don't know who they are. They silent. They angry. They power hungry. They all of that. They got the kids all messed up. They got the kids now going to school with knives, stabbing each other up. That's the spirit they bring. All of that is the spirit they bring. They don't belong to God. These women are not. The one judge The one who did Carmelo, God sent so much help to that young man. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Woo, thank you, God. Because he had the nation, people praying for him. The power of prayer. And that woman had to take the risk her life to save that young man's life, to stay in that prison so he could fight this battle right now that he got to go up against for taking out that white boy. Thank you, Jesus, that God sent his angel right there at the courthouse, a $250,000 bond that she reduced it down from $1 million. And they came at her and they mad at her. I don't think it's all men coming at her like this. I seen more women on YouTube or TikTok making videos about Carmelo. They men are evil, so they evil. They evil. That's why you got to say return to sender. That's why you got to know how to pray and know how to fight. And that's why you got to have the gift of discernment. You got to get your anointing. You got to get it from God. If God has received you into the kingdom, he ain't receiving everybody. Everybody talking about Lord, 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 and this, that, and the other. There's certain things you just going to have to just like reject. Like me, I have to stay away from all of that stuff they trying to push on into everything. The DEI and shit. When they mad about that DEI shit because it wasn't benefiting black women anyway. It was more benefiting for the LGBTQ community and benefiting white women. Okay, and it had nothing to do with us. And Jasmine Crockett could go out there and she bringing that shit up in the church. She was in the church the other day and she was preaching to them about accepting DEI and all of these programs and all of this other stuff. And they using her. She ain't got no man. Well, she say she had. Well, I don't know. She ain't got. Notice she ain't got no man. She's so dedicated for the Democrat Party. And I don't trust this man that is the spokesperson for the family of the Anthony family. I don't trust that organization, NGAN. All of that. They used to be Black Lives Matter, and they got rid of that, and then it's NGAN. And notice that they always using racism and everything. Racism this, racism that. Everything ain't racism. That's why I say you gotta get your spiritual gifts from the Lord. Because if you ain't got your spiritual gifts out here, you ain't going to be able to fight against that devil if you're going to compromise. You're going to compromise.
Send them notifications out right now.
I'm telling you.
Let's get it done.
What the heck is this? I didn't turn nothing on. I'm trying to. Yes. I ain't watching nothing on there. I don't trust this man. I just don't trust this NA National New Generation Action Network. His name is Dominic Alexander. First of all, he got a criminal background. He has a criminal record behind him and everything. You got to do your research. But see, this family probably was so desperate and so afraid and so scared they needed to get somebody to represent for them and help them. So he just fell right in. He worried up because see, those people are always trying to make up a group and they want to include everybody in the group. Everybody, oh yeah, they under the fucking rainbow. Okay? I don't trust those people. I don't like those organizations. We need a new black organization that can deal with it on another side of us. You know what I'm saying? Not all that pro-black bullshit. Okay? I want to see somebody that can see us in a different way on the side of being more conservative. They are more in touch with Christianity and what the real Christ is all about. Because they ain't got that shit over there in the Republic. I mean, they probably got some of them little floating rainbow people over there too. But one thing, they don't accept the conservatives. They ain't going to go up against that Bible. Anything that God hates, they hate. They not that the conservatives. I'm telling you now. Look at how you could just tell. Look at the comparison of how Trump wife was sitting and representing for us. And you can see the difference of how Melania is. to what Jill looked like. Okay? Joe's wife. Even though Milani's younger, but she has a little bit more grace about herself. I'm telling you, everything is not about race, but they always want to throw race in there at every attack that they can. Letitia James, yes, I want to be with my people, but I want to be with my people that can see things on, see things like that aren't about God, because Christ is always first ahead of my life. I don't care. If anything Christ don't accept, I'm not accepting it. They got the LGBTQ over there, the illegals over there. Everybody just come on in America and just take America down. That's the way the Democrats operate. They're not even protecting the American people. They just want America to have everybody in here in America. Everybody in the whole big, no. In the flag that we pledge allegiance to said, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of the America, into the republic for which it stands, one nation, we all under one nation of America, under God, in the invisible, with justice for all, meaning for all Americans, not justice for five and they didn't say for 20 nations under guard. Okay, listen to the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag, which the Democrats took out of school. We don't get up and talk about God no more. They don't want you to talk about God no more in the schools. What did Trump said? I want the Bible back in school. Oh, he's being a dictator. They don't want the Bible in school because they want to disobey God. They want to break every law that's in the Bible. And they just want to go all the way into sin. Listen to the flag. The United States flag stands for just America, for our government, the republic. An American people lives first. The American lives first. The American lives first. Democrats, illegals. We got to take care of the illegals. We got to take care of our neighbors first. We got to take care of the foreigner first. We got to be a refuge to them. We got to rescue them. And they got their homeless and poverty in the United States. Okay? I just did something on Facebook when I was just telling my story about the mayors of New York. How when I was in New York City, and I enjoyed certain times that certain mayors served the city of New York. We had Koch, Dinkins, and then after Dinkins, I think it came some other mayor. I think it was Giuliani, and then another Republican followed after that, and now it's back to the Democrats, right? When Koch was mayor of our city, it was disgusting. Okay? New York looked like a doggone war zone. Graffiti was everywhere. Burnt down buildings. Poverty was every single where in New York City. Subway stations were dangerous. Crime was up really bad. And especially police brutality in the city of New York. Times Square was like, oh my gosh, disgusting. The prostitutes, the pimps, all the scumbags, all the low filth of the earth. Okay, it was like a living hell. The gay, the whatever people. He was probably gay himself. It was like it was bad. Anybody that grew up in New York, if you in the chat, just put it in the chat. You was in New York when you was like growing up in New York and everything. I'm telling you, put it in the chat. New York was disgusting when we had a Democrat mayor. Crime, like I said, was bad. Racial tension was high. The climate of racism, racial attacks, everything was high in the Democrats and everything else like that. Yes, it was. It was really bad in New York. Then all of a sudden we got Dinkins because we had these cases that was going a lot of. That's when Al Sharpton started coming up. He was a big roly poly then. Al Sharpton came in with the movement and whatever he was doing from his. He didn't even have a church. I don't know what church he owned to because of Reverend Al Sharpton. Had the people out on the street protesting against police brutality. It started with Eleanor Bumpers. It was a mentally ill elderly woman who was shot down by the police because she had a knife in her hand, and they said that they should have took some other kind of precaution. They didn't have to slaughter the elderly woman, the mentally ill elderly woman. And that's when all the tension was high in New York with the police brutality, whatever. It started then. Then it was some other guys that things started happening too. Like they went into this neighborhood that was mainly Italians, and they was trying to um, they came out there. Michael, I forgot their names. It was a Michael something. They went to, which they shouldn't have been over there. They should have known better in the first place because we had our own neighborhood. You should stay your ass on your own side of the street. You know what I'm saying? Stepped on their territory, and those Italians were protecting their territory, they women and everything else like that. These black men was running up in their neighborhoods, running after they women. And let me tell these black men something. That's what they mad about now. Y'all fucking too much around with they women, okay? And that's another problem. They got to keep they white. They you heard when these terrorists they going after people. The one that just went after Trump and everything, talking about save the right, the white bloodline or something. They said. Okay, that's what he said. They don't want to mix up because they know that that weakens the blood, that weakens the community. It does. It brings a lot of messy shit in the community. So these Italians, they was out there, they was protecting they territory, whatever. So the dude was out there. They chased his ass out. He ran into the street. He got hit by a car. So that's when Al Sharpton came out and was protecting that one. And then it was this Haitian dude that was in New York. I don't know how he was violated by the police officers or something like that. And they took a broomstick, they stuck it up his behind, and they did all kind of foul things to him. Then it was another incident with Tawana Burley, another young girl who told the that some white men, police officers took us some white boys or whatever like that. They supposed to had sexually assaulted her or something like that, and then it was a whole shit breaking out. All that was going on when Koch was president. I mean, not president, mayor. And then it was the homeless crisis was going on. Too many homeless people was in the street, all over the subways, all laying out. It was just fucking disgusting. Okay, for those, and I was a little girl then, but I still could remember. Then all of a sudden, like as I started growing up, and I started getting out there to work and everything else like that. By that time, things were changing in our city. You know, it was still bad. A lot of crime, drugs, poor schools, education in our schools and everything, the public schools. It was a hot fucking. Anybody could remember. All of a sudden, we had Giuliani. After Dinkins and Koch, those two Democrat mayors were gone. Then here came Rudolph Giuliani. He became our mayor. Then all of a sudden, things started looking a lot better. Who was our president then? I think it was George Bush. Bush became our president. But I could tell you one thing. When he was president of the United States, which was a Republican, things were thriving. I'm telling you now because I remember I was just starting out in the world. I was still a little young because I was still married or whatever. I got married very young at that time. So then when Giuliani became president of the United States, I mean, not president of the mayor of New York City, things started to get better. We had more protection, more safety in the communities. We had a lot. I mean, there was still police brutality now. You're going to still have some stragglers around. Still got some people in the police department that's just evil and wicked and they just racist. And because they got them everywhere. The KKK is everywhere. They in the police department. They could be in the, they part of the organization, that organization in the White House. They everywhere. Just like they got militants everywhere. They got somebody from every times a group of people, right? But anyway, you got the good people, you got the evil ones. In every party, you got good and evil. Good and evil. And I'm not saying all Democrats are like that, because some just don't damn know. They just don't know. They have to hold on to a job. Like this damn Jasmine. She need a job. She lives a certain lifestyle. She likes to look a certain type of way. She like to get her hair, nails done. She like to pay like $1,500 for hair and get it in for $3,000. Put another $3,000 on her hair, all that vanity or whatever the hell she put all her money on herself. She ain't got no kids. She ain't married, so she ain't got nobody but to take care of herself, right? So she gotta always groom herself, look glamorous, all that vanity. But then you got those kind of women, very, you know, into themselves. I don't know. She might help a lot out too with her family members. She might take care of her mother, her father, her brothers, her sisters, her niece, or whoever. She might do some stuff for her family whatsoever. But these kind of women always got to look a certain image, but they only like to look good on the outside. But on the inside of them, they could be a demon. Okay, a demon. So we had Giuliani. Things started getting better in the city. More programs and things to help with housing programs and things to start thriving in New York, and then money was thriving. When Bush was president, I could remember before the damn World Trade Center when the terrorists came and took us down. First they hit us from the bottom, then they came. That didn't work too well. So then they came with the top and they knocked down those towers. I could remember that history, but I could still remember how people's lives were back then. You had more families, a husband and a wife. You had more two family homes. You seen families working and pooling together. Somebody was always there to take care of the kids. You ain't have all of this bullshit we got going on today. Two daddy households and two mommy households. Hell to the no. That wasn't going down. All of a sudden, we went for Obama. We went for Obama as president of the United States of America. And guess what? That's when we started seeing America turning into a shithole because we were looking at color instead of policies and all the things. We wasn't looking at that. We were just so glad to get a black man in the president, to become the president of the United States, a black family into the White House. Throw a little flavor up in there. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was flavor with the Bush family, because half of his kids, they were Mexican and mixed or whatever like that, Hispanic or whatever, some kind of Hispanic culture or whatever like that. But I'm just saying. But Bush, I remember when he was president, I didn't have, and even when what's his name was president of the United States, Reagan, black lives were thriving. I'm telling you, they were opening up their own businesses. Black families were buying property. They were buying homes. They were doing great things for themselves because that's what it's all about, the American dream. Making sure that every family, everybody pull together and build each other up, and we build up the economy and everything else like that. But when we with the Democrats, everything it's just something about the experiences that I had with who was running our government and who was running, and the ones who were running it the best for me in my experience. And I don't know why I did not, but at that time I didn't know all of this stuff about politics. You know what I'm saying? As I've been home, I've been doing a lot of research, and I start reflecting on things that I could remember when I was growing up and who was in office at the time, what party. And I always remember every time it was a Republican. People wasn't even worrying about the color of the president or whatever. We was just worrying about what best suit our lives at the time, what was in our best interest. I'm telling you, black families were doing very well. It was barely any, people was getting off welfare, getting jobs and working and bringing home working together as a family. Everybody was working. The mothers were working, the fathers were working, the children were working, and everybody was pulling up together. Brought a house, brought car. Their lives started to progress. They was becoming very progressive. But then the Democrats took over again. Here come welfare. Here comes the prisons and everything. They building pipelines to prison, like school education programs and everything else like that started coming in. But you got to follow certain type of policies, or else there's your job. You know what I'm saying? And then as time went on, it just started getting worse and worse. They start putting so kind of inclusive, trying to include all kind of shit into policies at work, and it becomes very stressful, and it became very, you couldn't breathe. I remember companies during the holidays and everything. Everybody was happy. Everybody getting bonuses and shit. When the Republicans, I remember, was in office, the fucking Democrats came. Everybody was miserable. The people was in mourning. Okay, the people was in mourning. Christmas became depressing. Just a whole lot of shit changed. You seen how they did the parade down on 34th Street one year, talking about um what was it? They did the theme of love or something they put out there for Christmas. not joy to the world. And I remember when the Republicans, and when I was growing up in kids, used to see a whole lot of things of to represent for Christ and Christmas, for Christ being in Christmas and Christ. It was a different feeling. I experienced that. And when I noticed that as the time changed and the parties, different parties we started getting, I seen Christmas starting to kind of like dwindle down a little bit. It wasn't so bright and merry. It became very dull. It became very dull. Even the churches, it started finding. I found the churches to be very dull during Christmas time when we was having certain type of presidents. Was when Barack came into the picture. I don't remember ever having a Merry Christmas with Barack Obama. I'm being honest with you. I voted for him. I really didn't know who I was voting for because I did no research who this man was. I just voted because I saw the skin color. I went with the identity politics. I didn't go with what was the policy and what they stand for. I didn't know nothing about neither one of those parties, to be honest with you, with the backgrounds of who they really were, because everybody always told me that the Republican Party was always a racist party. And then when I did my research, I realized it's the other way around. They call in democracy, and in our flag it says Republican. So what the hell? So finally, when I did my research, I realized that's not true. That's not true. That's even why Trump used to be a Democrat. When he was a Democrat in New York, he was saying racist stuff. He was saying evil stuff. He was a nasty bastard businessman. That's why they mad at him now. And they want to take him down because now he realized he rocking with the wrong people. These people were disgusting. So he had to change out of his party. They were disgusting. Go along, get along type of shit. Notice how they try to even not, like I said, every time it was always an attack. You notice we had a terrorist attacks on in our country whenever there was a Republican. You never get a terrorist attack when you're the Democrat. You wonder why. You wonder why. Because they are more concerned about foreigners and foreign policies than they are for the American people. That's why they had flooded up the whole United States with all these people coming across the border undocumented. You don't even know who they are. And you live as long as I have lived, you're going to see it. You're going to see the difference. Well, with that being said, your girl, Casey McDaniel, I got to go. I'll pick up with y'all some other time with a conversation. But feel how your spirit feel now. I feel now I ain't in the workplace. I feel free. I feel good. Because I'm trying to start my own little business. I really am working on that right now. I'm really am serious about doing it right now. Before I wasn't sure, but now I'm serious about going all in with it right now. So I've been sitting back doing a lot of research on things like this law to stand your ground law. Me personally, I think that law needs to be outdated. I don't think nobody should be having the right to kill anybody, stand your ground, call the motherfucking police. And I think they need to stop sending police with guns to a domestic dispute unless the person they need to use a different type of technique with police officers because I think they're getting a little messy with the gun. They're getting too trigger happy. I don't think police officers should have guns. They need to get like London, like how they do things. That in our police department, just so that they don't have so many people being unalive innocently, because it's been going on too much. I think they need to. It's a lot of things in our law that needs to be changed. Only time is if it's really some people out there doing certain things that you're gonna have to need to use a gun to get them or whatever, because for they could do harm to anybody else, and you gotta, protect the citizens in the community that you served or whatever. But I don't think guns is a good idea for police officers. I think guns, they need to work with mace, batons, and maybe even, the doggy or whatever stuff like that. Unless it's some like a terrorist, whatever kind of something they have to come out because it's a terrorist attack or something, somebody doing something very terrorist and they got guns, then I think you could pull, they could be bringing forces out to back them up with guns. But other than that, I don't think police should be policing around with guns. We got to find some other way to stop the violence on. Not everybody should be able to have a weapon. Okay, because some people just don't understand. I just saw a video, and this time it wasn't a black man. I don't know what race the man was. I think he was either a white dude or whatever, but he was seemed a little. He had a gun in his hand. I know maybe some of y'all might have seen it. Somebody shared it with me on Facebook. I said this was so horrible to watch. They were yelling, "Oh, shoot him! If he was a black man, you would have shot him down. Yeah, kill him, kill him, kill him. Yeah, get him down, blood down. Yeah, yeah, yeah." The black people were yelling this. This happened in Patterson, New Jersey, and the guy was wielding the gun and everything. And as soon as he pulled the gun up, the police officers all fired out on him, and you seen him fall. And then when you see it, you can see like his spirit moving out of his body. You need to watch that video. I want to share that video. That video was horrific. It was just something it just got to me. I was like, oh my God, they shot the man down in the street. And the people was just like, yeah, they cracked. I was like, what are we turning into? Violence begot violence, and I just don't think that. I mean, I think the guns need to be gone. I mean, if things get out of control and there's a crowd, or outcry, and there's a crowd, then I think that's when the police force need to come in with martial law, whatever, like da 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 da. Even I be saying, like, people be out there doing these crazy protests against the government. I think that that's when they need to use martial. Well, they was going to use it on us, but we didn't go out there when they were doing all that protesting on April the 5th and everything. We know, nah. We ain't down with that. There ain't nothing over there we should be protesting about. They want LGBTQ rights. They talking about they going to take your welfare, your Medicare, anything that trigger you to get you out there on the street. And I don't say, I don't care. They can take that Medicaid. I don't care. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy into my own medical programs or whatever. Medicine or whatever I have to do. But other than that, I ain't going out there putting my life on the line like that. No. And that's what the Democrats were doing all the time. Every time they want to, we gonna fight democracy. No, get the hell out of you. That's when Trump should have called the goddamn martial law and just sweat their asses on out and called Tom Homan, put their ass on a bus, put them somewhere and hold them there until he could get the next flight out and send them on over to El Salvador or some other foreign country. They want to fight for legal illegals to be here. Whatever illegals that was holding their flag up out there talking about we want rights. You ain't got no damn rights. You ain't here from America. What the hell? Take your ass back to your country and go to your government and try to overthrow that shit and say you want rights. Don't come to America. This is disrespectful. And I said, well, that's when the president should have brought his ass the martial law. The martial law should have been right on out there. Try to get me out there. And some of them was sitting out there now. Now Trump, those MAGA people was out there with their guns and rifles and everything. You think I was gonna go out there? Hell to the no. Y'all want to overthrow the government? That's what it sounds like to me. Oh, we gonna hands off Trump, hands off. Yeah, they going through files right now to see who's supposed to be here and who's not. And you're gonna be seeing ICE come knocking at their goddamn door. Okay? They got one over there now that the United States was trying to get him back because I think they sent him by mistake, and then the El Salvador they found out, you didn't make a mistake. He gonna stay here with us because he got a criminal. He's a wanted criminal over here. Okay, he was a wanted criminal in his own country. And when Trump sent them back, they thought they sent him by some kind of mistake. Come to find out, he's supposed to be going back because he's a criminal over there. So they gonna do some damage over there with those people. But anyway, y'all, let me get off this phone. I will talk with y'all later. Have a blessed and wonderful evening. Maybe be back later because I'm now down to only 23% on my phone. So I will be talking with you all.